All right. Another question here. I'm looking at strategic aggregation as a service with the goal of acquiring a business. The thought process set up a JV with a business with no strategic aggregation system, leverage them, build a system, and exit for an amount and or build it to buy in uh, slash buy them out of their main business. How would you structure the JV so that I make money running the system? Is this what you meant when you said you would focus on strategic aggregation if you are not acquiring a business? Um, well, in a way, it is, okay? But let me speak directly to what you're asking. Uh, Understanding strategic aggregation is there's an ability to take that knowledge and put it into a business. And the business is in working more as a consultant with other companies who, if they had this strategy, would become more profitable. And you would show them how it works, you would show them what you do, and you would convince them that if they'll work with you, you will implement this on their behalf. And then you've got to determine what your model is for how you're going to do that. I use strategic aggregation as one of the methods of acquiring a business where I do it as a function of one of our techniques, which is called a build up buy-in, a build up buy-in. How does that work? Let's say the only thing I've got is knowledge of strategic aggregation, but I know it cold. I'm a master of how to do it. Okay. All right. So now I got a company that I would like to own a piece of and maybe own the whole thing. So I go to them and I offer to do this service for them where they don't pay me anything up front. They don't have to pay me a dime. But here's how we're going to work together. I'm going to either bring in companies that together will acquire, or I'm going to go and joint venture with other companies so that we'll take another company that fits the model and we'll just joint venture with them. We'll do certain things, they'll do certain things. And here's what that might look like. Again, let me go back to my example of the real estate broker. So I go to the owner of the real estate brokerage and say, I want to do a build-up buy-in. You don't pay me anything. I'll create new sales for you, new revenue sources for you. And all I want you to do is two things. One is pay me a share of the revenue that I create for you that you haven't paid anything for other than to pay me a share. So no upfront cost. And when I've done that, it's going to add value to your business. I want you to take whatever the value of your business is before I bring in that extra revenue, and whatever the value of that business is after I bring in that revenue. And I want you to give me, and then it's some percentage equity in your business because I've increased its value substantially. Now, not every owner wants to do that. Okay, sometimes you'll run into a problem with the owner who says, well, I don't want anybody else owning a piece of my business. Okay. But you agree I'm entitled to value, right? Oh, yeah, you're entitled to value. I don't want anybody else owning my business, a piece of my business. Well, great. So we're going to create phantom stock. So we're going to create it as if I were an owner. What would I own? What would I be entitled to in terms of ownership of your value and ownership of your profitability? So those will be shared with me on that percentage, which is a fraction of what I created for you. But I won't legally be an owner. I'm not entitled to any of the privileges of ownership except a distribution of money. And when you sell the business, my share of the value. Okay. And those deals can be made. There's agreements. Spell out how that's done. So now you've got a way to deliver that service, participate in the equity increase in the value of the business. When you make your deals with the other strategic partners, you make deals with them too. Okay, I'm going to bring you the ABC brokerage firm over here that sells residential real estate. They've got traffic of X number of people that they place in new home. We're going to bring those people to you for your service. And when we do, here's what we want from you. So you're leveraging that out in every way. Now, let me explain to you something about strategic aggregation that's really important. If you only got two companies participating in there, the value is somewhat nominal, right? I mean, you're only going to get so many sales from this one. This one's only going to get so many sales for that one. You're going to have a revenue sharing mechanism, which, by the way, we have all automated and on a online platforms, and we do this all the time. Okay, so there's going to be a revenue sharing arrangement, and each company's going to make a lot more money and increase their sales and increase their profits and increase the revenue streams that they're getting per their client. They're getting some of the other guy's business. Now, if you only have two, there's only a limited amount that happens. What about when you have three? Well, that number just went up by another 50%. Okay, of now the cross traffic that you've got, because now you got three-way cross traffic, but then you get a fourth one. Now you got four-way cross traffic. And you can see where the client base and the sales of each of these businesses is growing logarithmically as you add new players in your strategic aggregation scheme of things. So once you get it up and running in two companies, now it gets real easy to add the third and the fourth, because this is really exciting to everybody. They're not just going to get one company's leads for their business. They're going to get a whole bunch more. Okay. And so you eventually get it to where you can show, in fact, you can show right in the beginning, we're going to start out with you two, but look what's going to happen when we get 10 or 20 of the different companies that are now strategically aggregated with each other to either ownership or joint venture. It can be done either way. So these techniques are very, very exciting. There's nothing like them. They can produce so much more revenue, so much more profit than a standard business model. We believe here that that strategic aggregation is the definitive business model for the 21st century. And it's been fully facilitated by technology. In other words, if you had to do and keep track of all these cross sales and all the revenue sharing, and you had to do that manually, you'd run out of steam pretty quick. On the other hand, we put the whole thing on a platform, does it automatically. Once you have everybody plugged in, even the cross referrals of the people from one company to another is all automated. So the process is able to work where it's a very minimal expense for people participating in it, and huge outcomes in terms of cash flow and profitability.